and burn.
Hey everybody. So tonight I want to discuss the 1997 film Eye of God, starring Martha Plimpton and Nick Stahl, Mary Kay Place, Hal Holbrook's in this. And this is it's a non-linear film that was written and directed by Tim Blake Nelson. He is, for anybody that's not sure, he was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? He played Buster Scruggs in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. That's him. He's been in like 1,000 movies. Well, he wrote and directed this. I think it was based off a play that he did. He wrote and directed the play of the same name and everything. He also, too, I didn't know this, that Tim Blake Nelson was the guy that wrote and directed The Grey Zone, with David Arquette and Harvey Keitel about the Sonderkommandos in Auschwitz. I didn't know that was his either. I absolutely love that movie. That movie ends so horribly when they're all being executed out on the grass, and Arquette and the other dude realize that they lived up the street from each other back before the Nazis took over. That movie was brutal. And this movie is certainly no exception. This movie's touchy. This movie's kind of rough. There's a suicide, and it's focused around a rape murder. Martha Plimpton plays a kid working at a diner. She's I don't even know how old she is, 17, 18, maybe 19. And she meets this dude who she's been corresponding with, I think, while he's been incarcerated. His name's Jack. And they start this romantic relationship when he gets out, and they seem so cute. And the first time through, quick side note, this movie is available on YouTube. Somebody uploaded it illegally, of course, to YouTube. This isn't done through YouTube Movies, but it's on there if anybody's interested. They're so cute. And if you don't know the movie and you haven't seen it before, I saw it decades ago, back when I was a kid, just after high school. Can't remember where I saw it, but saw it somewhere in the late 90s or the early 2000s. You have no idea, because those two, Martha Plimpton, Jack and Ainsley, that's Martha Plimpton's character's name, and her husband-to-be, Jack, they're adorable. They seem really cute, and you don't know what he did time for. And everybody's kind of believing in him more than they should. Even his parole officer is letting him in on some kind of personal information regarding the parole officer's marriage. And now they're trying to have a baby, and how it's kind of taking the fun out of it. And he shouldn't be telling this guy that, because it later comes back to haunt him, because the guy's an asshole, Jack. He's not the best person. And Nick Stahl plays a 14-year-old kid named Tommy, whose mom committed suicide. She asked her sister, played by Mary Kay Place, if she could look after him for a bit, because she had to go out. And then she goes out to the garage and shuts it and gets in the car, starts it up, and lets herself asphyxiate on the exhaust. And the other thing I absolutely loved about this movie was the opening. I don't care what anybody says. Joel and Ethan, the Coen brothers, who I am not knocking in any way, they're brilliant, okay? I'm not saying anything negative about them, nothing. But my God, did they lift the opening of this to put it in No Country for Old Men? You know, like that thing Picasso said about good artists copy, great artists steal. Well, Hal Holbrook's opening monologue is, and the way it's shot, is very reminiscent of Tommy Lee Jones's opening monologue in No Country for Old Men. They have nothing to do with each other. They're not related in any way. The stories aren't the same. But my God, it is very apparent that Joel and Ethan Coen were quite influenced by the start of this film for that film, which would come out roughly a decade later, I believe. The other thing I really liked about this movie was how it's non-linear. Essentially, to oversimplify things, it starts at the end and ends at the start. There's more to it than that. It's the stories will all start to intersect. A story that's happening before, another part that happens after. They will be told at the same time, because the dialogue is emotionally engaging enough to sort of create this impasse where you know everything's going to collide. Emotionally, this movie's rough, really rewarding and easy to watch. I found myself, I blinked and the movie was over half gone. It was past the 45-minute mark, and I was like, wow, I'm really what's going on? At the start, Nick Stahl's character, Tommy's covered in blood, and the cops are trying to figure out what's going on, and did he kill somebody? Did he witness somebody killing somebody? And he's already dealing with the fact that his mom has committed suicide. So Tommy, like Nick Stahl's character, is damaged goods. And then we find out what Jack did. Jack almost beat a chick to death while she was pregnant with his kid, because he's got a history of smacking women around. And that becomes horribly apparent at one scene when Martha Plimpton reveals that she's pregnant and she finds out what he's done and she's telling him not to touch her. He fucking grabs her by the throat like she means nothing and he starts choking her out, saying like, tell me we're going to do this. Like, we're going to start a fucking family. Say it, you know? And then, if I'm not mistaken, you see nothing, but the camera does hold a little too long and it suggests that he rapes her when he tosses her on the kitchen floor after choking her out. So Jack's a piece of shit. He won't let her leave the house. And I think the roughest part in the film happens around the 1 hour and 9 minute mark when everything intersects. She's getting the abortion as Jack is admitting to the murder, which of course all out of sync with each other, as Tommy's aunt, Mary Kay Place, is discovering that he's hung himself in his closet as the result of witnessing what happened to Martha Plimpton's character at the start of the film or the end of the film, depending on how you want to look at this. And it's just so sad. Like, she never stood a chance. And then when her and Tommy meet, there's something between the two of them because even though Tommy is a few years younger than her, they're closer in age than she is to her jackass husband, Jack. And it's really cute. And they go off and they're hanging out next to the water where she will be raped and murdered by Jack that unfortunately Tommy will witness and is powerless to stop. And the movie ends with them just hanging out and being really cute with each other. And you know what comes next because as they're shown being cute and hanging out and everything, it cuts to Jack driving around frantically and very pissed off looking for her. And the movie concludes with him shooting out to the place where they are and them hanging out being really cute with each other. So this movie isn't easy. This movie's rough. Like I said, it's got rape, it has murder, and it's got suicide. So if those are the sorts of things that you don't like to see, I would steer clear of this movie. The other thing I loved about this movie is how it shows a lot of what happens through the outsides of like Tommy's house. Like, it's always through the window or the front door of his house from like an exterior shot looking in. Like, that's how Mary Kay Place discovers his body. She's like knocking on the door and she's like, Tommy, open the door. Fine, I'm coming in. And she sees the window open. So she assumes he jumped out of it and took off. And she's like, oh my God, Tommy. And then she opens the curtains and that's when we're revealed. The body is revealed to us. Like, he's hanging in the background and she hasn't seen it yet because she's still looking. And then she spins around and starts to scream because Tommy couldn't hack it because first his mom died and then he witnessed Ainsley, Martha Plimpton's character, I imagine, being raped and then murdered. And it looks like Jack split her up the middle somehow too. So it was a particularly vicious killing that we don't see anything. This movie is not violent other than when he's choking her in the kitchen. This is a very non-violent movie that has some very heavy violence that takes place off screen. But I loved the connection to No Country for Old Men. That is so apparent at the start. And I loved the exterior shots looking into Tommy's house. And I loved, Martha Plimpton was the best part of this movie. And I feel like her performance kind of went sort of unsung in this because this wasn't exactly the biggest movie in the world. I know she ended up being nominated for an Oscar for Parenthood, if I'm not mistaken. I think she was. I mean, she'd been around forever. I mean, of course, obviously, she was in The Goonies. I know she did an episode of SVU. And what the fuck else? She was to play the teen daughter. Oh my God, I'm never going to remember now. She's done a lot of stuff. But I feel like this movie just got glossed over. Like, it's like nobody knows this movie exists. And more people should, because her performance and Nick Stahl's performance are absolutely amazing. And she is the reason to watch this. She's so likable and so hopeless too, like so lost. And you just know something horrible is going to happen right from the jump of this movie, despite how cute they are, because there's something wrong with the tone of this movie. But yeah, this movie is incredible. And I am going to leave it there because this movie's kind of sad and it just, I don't know. It's rough, but it's incredibly engaging. And that's it. So like always, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I discussed the 1997 film, Eye of God. I'm not even sure if I introduced that at the start of this video now. I'm not 100%, kind of forgot. But like always, if you like this review or you like this movie, don't forget to go and do something nice for somebody. It's easy. Hold the door for somebody the next time you're out buying groceries or some shit. But most importantly, please never forget that the world is actually a way better place because you are in it. I'm going to go. Have a good night.